Hello and welcome to another session in English language, and today we are dealing with clauses. Then we move on to expository essay, and lastly we take a register on family. But before all of that, let us review the previous lesson. Welcome back. So we begin today's lesson with introduction to clauses. And you know what a clause is. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a predicate with a finite verb. Okay? Contains a subject and a predicate. Idowu bought a piece of land. The subject there is Idowu bought a piece of land is the predicate. Okay? And every clause, like we said, must always have a finite verb. It's very important. Okay? Phrases don't contain finite verbs, and that is the distinguishing factor. Okay? Phrases don't contain finite verbs. Clauses contain finite verbs. So let's move on to the types of clauses. We have what we call the independent clause and the dependent clauses. Independent clauses are otherwise called principal clauses or main clauses. They can express a complete thought or idea and can stand on its own. For instance, my English master is a kind man. Tope is coming here tomorrow. So these are all independent clauses. But if you look at dependent clauses, another name for that is subordinate clauses. And subordinate clauses don't express a complete thought, neither can they stand on their own. In other words, we are saying that they depend on the independent clause for their meaning. Okay? So we have three types of subordinate clauses in English. We have what you call the noun clause, the adjectival clause, and the adverbial clause. So our focus today is on the noun clause. Okay, so let's begin with that first, even though we are going to talk about others too. Let's begin with the noun clause. The noun clause is a subordinate clause that performs the function of a noun. Look at the expression, what he said is bitter. What he said is the noun clause. Okay, occupying the position of the subject. Okay, then we have adjectival clause, which we said is a subordinate clause that performs the function of an adjective. Okay, that is, it modifies a noun or pronoun. Okay, that's what an adjectival clause does, basically. So let's take examples. But before that, note that adjectival clauses are introduced by relative pronouns. Who, whom, whose, that, which, where, when. Okay? So for example, we say the man who came here is a teacher. Who came here is an adjectival clause, telling us more about the noun phrase, the man. Okay? The lady whose car was stolen is crying. Whose car was stolen is an adjectival clause telling us more about the noun phrase, the lady. Okay, then we move on to adverbial clause. An adverbial clause is a subordinate clause that performs the function of an adverb. So what does an adverb? An adverb tells us how, when, where, why, to what extent, under what condition that actions of verb were performed. Okay, so that's what an adverbial clause does basically. Okay, performs the function of an adverb, modifying a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So she sings as if she were hungry. As if she were hungry is an adverbial clause modifying how she sings. Okay, so the types of adverbial clauses, we have adverbial clause of manner, adverbial clause of time, adverbial clause of place, adverbial clause of reason, adverbial clause of condition, adverbial clause of purpose, adverbial clause of result, adverbial clause of comparison, and adverbial clause of concession. Okay, so we move on to another important aspect, which is expository essay. Expository essay. Now, when writing an expository essay, you are required to give detailed explanation on a process. Detailed explanation on a process. Okay, you have to explain something in details. Okay, so we said the aim of expository essay is to instruct, is to inform, explain, criticize, analyze issues. In other words, one of the most exciting essays is expository essay. Okay, so it's a combination of argumentative, descriptive, narrative essays. What are the features of an expository essay? First, you write the topic in uppercase letters, or what you call capital letters. Okay, then your points or your arguments should be logically presented. They should be chronologically arranged. Okay, so then employ the use of paragraphs. Employ the use of paragraphs for your illustrations, comparisons, and contrast. Then there should be a proper definition and explanation of vague ideas. Okay, don't leave your reader in a cloud of confusion. Then also, the present tense verb is used in this type of essay, not past tense, the present tense verb. Okay, so let's begin with the problem with Gambia. Let's assume you are asked to write an expository essay with a problem with Gambia. What are the problems that Gambia is currently facing? So first, you can start by acknowledging the fact of the topic, that Gambia has her own problems. So mention at least 3 major problems you are confronted with in Gambia and the causes of these problems. Then discuss how these problems are affecting you as a nation. Then suggest viable solutions to these problems. How do we resolve these problems? Then use facts and data from daily news. Then in the concluding paragraph, you can recap your points and also buttress them. Okay, then let's move on to something also very interesting, and that is register on family relationships. Register on family relations. That is, we want to enrich our vocabulary archives with words associated with the family. We have mother, the female parent. We have father, the male parent. We have brother, a male sibling. You could also have half sister. Okay, so it could be a boy or girl who you share half parents with. You could have the same father or mother and not the same parent all through. So for instance, if your father has another wife, okay, then the child that comes out of that wedlock is your half brother. Okay, then we have your grandchild. Grandchild is the child of one son or daughter. That is, when you grow old and you have your child, your parents have become grandfather and grandmother, and the child you give birth to is their grandson or daughter. Okay, then we have a cousin. A cousin is the child of your uncle or your aunt. Your uncle or your aunt's child is your cousin. Then we have your uncle. Your uncle is your brother's, the brother of your mother or father, or your aunt's husband. Please, your uncle is not your teacher in school. Your uncle is your mother's brother or your father's brother or your aunt's husband. But many times we even call our teachers in school uncle. They are not your uncle. Right? We have aunt. The sister of your mother or your father is your aunt, or your uncle's wife is your aunt. not your female teacher in school. Then we have what you call your nephew. Your nephew is the son of your sister or your brother. Okay, the male child of your sister or brother is your nephew. Then we have stepmother. If your father remarries, then the woman your father gets married to or got married to is your stepmother. Then we have relative, people who you are of the same blood line. Then we have your family, consisting of parents and children. So family basically consists of parents and children. We have distant relative, okay, such as one's cousin or child. Okay, then we have nuclear family consisting of just parents and their children, no aunts, no uncle, no cousin whatsoever. Okay, so that you should familiarize yourself with. Then these are terms or words associated with the home. When you say furniture in a home, we mean large movable objects such as your table, chair, your bed. Okay, they are furnitures. They refer to them as furniture. Please, there's no word like furnitures. They are furniture. Furniture does not have a plural number. Okay, we have utensils. These are tools or objects we use in cooking. We use utensils in the kitchen. Okay, we use them basically in the kitchen. Then we have your wardrobe. The wardrobe, okay, is where you hang your clothes. Alright, then we have the blender. A blender is a machine used in the kitchen for mixing liquid, okay, or for mixing liquid or soft foods together into smooth liquid substance, while a fridge is a cooling container that helps you preserve your food. So with this, we've come to the end of our lesson today. Thank you very much for joining this class, and to refresh your memory and recall all that has been taught today, I would encourage you take the test that pops up on your screen now.